Oh God, we're smart, right?
We're good at this.
The steel fighting. Look, man, we only been doing this 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
All our brain cells are gone. Oh. What's going on, y'all? It's Paul the Barbarian here, hanging out at the Knights Hall, obviously. I'm hanging out with Ringo, my good buddy.
What's up, y'all?
We've been fighting for a while. One of the main questions that I catch in my comments and everything else like that is, I'm only X and X size, I only weigh this much. Can I actually do this sport? Can I fight? And my answer is always yes, you can do this.
No, you can't. It's less. You have to be 6 foot tall, 300 pounds.
Yes, like that's the requirement. No, like what do you stand at?
I'm 5'8", and I fight between 180 and 2 bills.
Yeah, you're a little bit more dense than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I started, I was a lot denser.
Yeah.
I came in real heavy, and I dropped to, I think I was the lightest. I was like 170, but I've started putting on some mass.
I mean,
lifting.
Then there's Gunner, who's running around at like, he's like 5'6", he weighs like 140 pounds wet, but he's fast.
Yeah, and he's tough. He's
huge.
And like Mikey, he's fought at 160 internationally. I think at 140 actually in Portugal.
Jesus.
And he's
tiny.
And he's like 6 feet.
Yeah, like that's like not big at all. But like constantly people are asking me like, can I do this being like 150 pounds at 5'6"? Yes, you can. Be fast and tough, I'd figure. Like, what do you find as a smaller person? Like, this sport's it's full of monsters.
Yeah, I mean, it's in order to fight as a small guy. The first thing you gotta do is get used to getting beat up. Because like real talk is the first couple of times you're gonna, and possibly for the first couple of years, you're gonna go in and just size will matter, and you just gotta get used to taking those beatings, and it's fine. Because you'll probably survive. Like I don't know anyone who's died playing the sport.
No,
so
I haven't. I don't know anybody that's died yet.
Yeah, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be great.
Like real talk, like it'll hurt. You'll get beat up. You'll get bruised, but you probably won't get injured. In general, our armor is really good at protecting you from serious injuries. And so most of the beatings you'll take are just beatings or embarrassment, like someone just picking you up and tossing you.
That happens, yeah.
Yeah, and you just get used to it, and you pick yourself up, and you dust yourself off, and you learn how to survive that. That's step one. And once you're there, it's really easy as a little guy to go from nothing to like pretty decent. It's almost harder to do that than as a big guy, because as a big guy, you get used to, I am big, and I use my bigness to be good, and then that stops working really fast. As a little guy, you don't have any of that to start with. So when you start to develop some skills, big guys go at you and they try to be big at you, and you're like, no. And then they fall over, you have some power and you can hurt them and like go down, or you can just run away. And like, yes, like you were talking about, speed's a huge thing. Learning how to move in armor is important for every size, but it's especially important as a small guy. Just learning how you move, not just like how fast, like linearly, but also like how quick you can duck, how well you can sort of just move your body around, because people are going to pick you up and they're going to toss you, and you need to be able to rebalance yourself. You need to be able to take a sidestep really fast so that you can avoid someone's running and then just sort of stick your foot in the way.
I think, and one of the things that I've been hammering on a little bit is, instead of going into those hug matches, which we all see in all of our videos, I hate hugging. I want to be able to see people. I think the disengagement is more important, and being able to leave and go somewhere else on the field to be more efficient, somewhere else, get a clear back or something like that. And also working on, instead of letting them come to the hug, you work your foot game to where you can just trip them and out-juke them. If you're smaller, you can be more dexterous in your footwork and be able to get away from people a lot more. You're not nearly as top-heavy.
Yeah.
It's still armor distributed over you, but it's a little bit easier for you to go to a wider stance and get away from somebody than somebody like my size trying to lumber after someone.
Yeah. The things with that, right, is that a lot of throws are about getting your center of balance under someone else's. When you're short, it works a lot better. Right? As a big guy, you do get to get on top, and you do get to put your weight on them.
You have leverage.
That's an advantage. But it's also, if you know what you're doing, an advantage to be under their weight. Hence the French ninja who
wrecked both of us. I mean, mad props to that guy, but he is like a semi-pro soccer player.
Yeah, he's a fucking, like, a real, like, athlete, dedicates his life. We're part-time, but like he's a real athlete, puts in the time, and like so you probably won't be that good, but as a small guy, you can learn to use your size as an advantage against bigger people. Like you can be under them. The disengage thing, I think it's huge for everyone as well. Like as a big guy, you can run into the problem of tunnel visioning. Like, hey, I'm just gonna put this person down. And when that happens, if you are trying to escape as a small guy, perfect. Because they're tunnel visioning on you, when you can get out, they won't be able to adjust to the rest of the field. It's an advantage for you if someone doesn't do that. And similarly, therefore, as the big guy, you don't want to do that because they're going to be trying to get away. And so sometimes you can reverse it if you're really good, right? To start with, this won't be you. But you spend some time getting your feet together and getting used to being tossed around and getting used to beat up by bigger fighters. Eventually, there'll come a time where you don't want to escape, where instead you go, focus on me. And you play the tank role as a small guy. It's very dangerous as a beginner, but once you've picked that up some skills, it's works really well because the person who thinks I almost have him, and then you can keep them focused while the rest of your team is doing damage over there.
I've definitely had it done to me where it happened in Poland in 2015. The little guy started grappling with me. I grappled up with him, but he was able to stay up and deny most of my big man game, and he kept me out of the fight.
Yeah.
And then I got dumped over his shoulder somehow when we lost. That definitely happened. I've gotten through this sport. I have realized that my tank game can also come into play, and I can grab up 3 dudes and just hold them still.
Yeah.
And just have that much attention thrown at me because they already do it to begin with. But as a small guy, you can get lost in the sauce a little bit, and you can go and make angles and make runs to where you can actually make it advantageous for yourself and for your team's performance.
Yeah, in general, as a small guy, that what you want to be doing is not drawing the attention, right? Like there are exceptions. The one we just talked about, the French Ninja does it as well with those looping runs he makes. Generally, aren't actually about getting cross checks. They're making you go, where is he? And if you aren't that level, what you want is kind of to sneak off to the side, have one guy look at you, and you make a move, and he freezes, and then you run that way.
Mm-hmm.
And you clear out half their team. Or you get into their backfield, and you go and you hit someone, and you don't clear out someone, but they go, who is that? And that is more of the French Ninja you want. But you might not want to be as obvious with it until you get really good. Because those big looping runs, you fall over a lot on your own.
Well, what we used to do...
I have time.
Yeah.
many a time.
Yeah. What we used to do on the first swords is I usually would send up a bigger guy like Andrew or myself, and we'd have a smaller, faster guy like Sean behind us. We would take the aggro and take the attention, and the small guy would just run out and get out free and not be able, not have anybody chasing after him. Or if somebody did, they were 2 steps behind him. Now you figure if you're 2 steps off of somebody, you're a mile away from them.
Yeah.
2 steps in this sport is a huge amount of space to try and make up on a full dead sprint. And sometimes you just fall over trying to run because you realize your weight's too far forward.
Yep.
Oh no.
Or you try to, they make a little cut and you try to adjust to make that same cut. And your body's just...
Yeah, you just realize, oh no, I can't make that turn.
Yeah.
What have I done?
Yeah.
And we're not always fighting on solid ground. We're usually fighting on sand or grass or something stupid. So when you go to make that solid cut and your foot just goes out from underneath you, you're like, oh no.
Yeah. And that is another advantage of being small, is I can get a lot closer to my top speed than probably you can, because I don't have as much mass while I'm running.
To get moving.
Yeah, therefore when I want to change direction, it doesn't take as much effort for me to change that direction. There isn't as much problem with it versus you or Andrew. They can be very fast in a straight line, but they have to slow down a lot more to make those cuts.
Yeah, to make cuts.
Because all of that weight wants to continue where it was going. Newton's laws. I don't remember what they are, but
physics.
Exactly.
I tend to refer to steel fighters as alligators. We're really good in straight lines. You start adding curves or fucks. But there are definitely, if you make your turn more looping and you make that wider turn instead of trying to make it a hard juke.
Yep.
If I have somebody behind me, I try to throw a juke in there and I watch them fall on their face or something like that. Or they just randomly jump on me. That'll happen too.
And then part of it is just getting used to what speed you can run in your armor, right? I can probably do about 80% of my top speed in armor, and I can't fully accelerate as fast as possible. Part of that is just the armor. prevents you from
Yeah.
accelerating too heavy. Finding where your range is comes by running a lot in armor on sand and trying to turn and falling over.
Yeah,
And going, that's too fast.
Yeah. Oh no, I turned too quickly.
But like that is definitely an advantage to the smaller guy, is that my top speed's probably a little bit better, just in general, than yours. So I can probably get that. But even if it's not, I can make that turn a little bit sharper.
Yep.
So if I can get Paul chasing me, I can probably get back to the fight before he can.
It's happened. It's happened, and the only times when I catch him, I usually just sit on top of him.
Yeah.
Tell him to sit down.
Which is the correct move.
Yeah, generally. I'm trying to tell you that even though you think you're too small, that's not really a thing that's going to hamper you in this sport. It'll make it harder to build in progress. But in the long run, I think you guys have a better situation than some of the bigger guys do.
I mean, it depends. There's probably an ideal size for this sport.
Probably. No idea what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we haven't figured it out. The sport's too new. And, like, I don't think, with certain exceptions, there's any size that can't play. Like, maybe if you're 3 feet tall, maybe not. I don't know.
No fighting force was ever the best with having all the same dudes at the same size. That were able to, you kind of need to have that toolbox full of different size tools and different things, because there are things that you can do that I cannot do very easily on the fighting field.
Exactly. There's always going to be room for the smaller fighter, and it's just figuring it out what it is. And that's the same thing. The only real difference in learning and how you learn, there's way difference in the way you fight, but like the only real difference in coming up and learning is that you're gonna start out a little bit behind. And that's okay. We don't all get to start out at the same level.
No.
People have advantages in life, but like eventually those advantages can turn to disadvantages and you can leapfrog them.
Very quickly. Happens.
And even if not, if you just work harder, hard work pays. We're not at the place in the sport where, like, in general, if you're a mildly athletic person, if you work harder than everyone else, you'll be better than everyone else. We're still at that point where we just haven't developed enough skill where it's, oh no, you have to be a top 1% athlete. We're not there. We may never get there. So, like...
I mean, there's and you don't have to be... I don't think you have to be the top 1% athlete to do this sport anyways.
No.
I definitely like having a casual weekend of going and beating the shit out of each other with steel axes and swords.
Sure.
And not have anything riding on it. Like, I don't need to go to national tournaments every weekend to feel good.
I
mean, I like to, but at the same time...
I
like a beer and pretzel league.
Exactly.
Beer and pretzel league, it definitely has a place.
Especially, like, for the majority of fights. I don't want every fight to be fucking intense. I did that for a little while. My body and my mind were fucking
definitely
wrecked.
informed you.
Yeah,
they were informative.
Yeah, so it's definitely let's have a casual league, casual fighting. But like, even if like that's not your goal, and if it is, great. Then you can do it pretty much at whatever level and whatever training you want, and be whatever size. But even if it's not, if your goal is to be the top fighter, you can.
Yeah.
You gotta sacrifice to do it, but you can. Your size isn't going to be changed that much of how much of a sacrifice you have to make.
Yeah.
Other things might, but just your size will not be it. Coordination, that's probably the big one.
That's probably I think agility and coordination and being able to keep yourself together in armor while running around and doing the crazy stuff is probably the most important thing. Okay, Ringo, what's top 3 things you think training-wise or just like thought process in your training profile for smaller fighters? What do you think the top 3 things are important?
Training in kit. More than anything else. When I say training in kit, I don't mean fighting in kit. I mean moving in kit.
Like, put on your thighs and your shins, go run around your fucking legs.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to go do like a 7-mile run in full kit.
No.
Because that's probably bad for your knees. But you do need to be able to go, how fast can I get my knees up? How fast can I sprint? How fast can I cut side to side? Some agility ladders, some tires. And when you're first doing it, do it at 50% speed, maybe 70% speed. Like, slow down, learn how it moves, get used to it, don't hurt yourself. That's step 1.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, so step 1, wear your kit. Get used to it slowly. That would be step 1. Step 2, grapple bigger dudes a lot. Like, find the biggest dude you can, and you don't even need to do it in kit. Go be like, I want you to throw me around, and you're gonna lose a lot, and that's fine, because what you're trying to build is the sense of what it's like to be thrown and tossed, have weight on top of you, and not panic. Because panicking is the first thing that will get you in trouble. You can't breathe, your body starts doing wild things. And second, it's just if you can start to understand how you're moving when someone like picks you up and throws you, you can be like, okay, how do I put my foot back on the ground and get back in control? And you can beat 90% of throws where they haven't pulled your legs completely out. Like you can be in the air and still be perfectly balanced. I do it a lot. So
I agree with that. One of my things is going to be like wrestle bigger guys and work on disengagement.
Yes.
The main strategy most dudes in this sport have is grab a hold of the guy and hug him and throw him to the ground like that.
That was gonna be my third.
Disengagement.
Learn how to break away. And for that, you definitely want to do it in soft kit or full kit. But even if you don't have kit, or you just don't have time to do that from all the other stuff, just practice. Get in like a clinch, break free while they hold you. Try to break free in different positions. To me, that's separate than actually wrestling big dudes. Like try to take down big dudes and get thrown a lot.
Yeah.
Get used to them putting all their weight on you and just surviving. That's a different thing. And then also practice breaking free. And that you may want to do with people more your size or at like a reduced capacity. Like, hey, can you go 50% with me while it's a flow drill, right? I'm going to try to hold you and you're going to break free, and then you're going to grab me, and I'm going to try to break free. And we're not really trying to win. We're just trying to get used to the feel, and that would be my third. Armor, learn how to get beat up, and learn how to get away.
It's not the end-all, be-all for doing this kind of stuff. It's just the best way forward if you're a smaller guy. And I think this sport's built for just about everybody. Like if you're tough enough and you're crazy enough, you want to go swing some swords at somebody. I mean, it's a good time. There's no ifs and buts about it. That's why we've been doing it 6 goddamn years, 7 fucking years.
Yeah.
But we're not dead yet. I think that's very good.
Yeah.
Surprising.
It's very good. No, it's not. It's very good.
We haven't died yet, Ringo. I'm okay. I want everybody to check out Trash Night Ringo. Ringo's got his own thing going on. He breaks down all kinds of video and looking at tape, which we actually need to sit down and do too, because we need to heckle each other doing that.
Sure, I'm in. Let's do it sometime.
He also writes stuff. He's got a blog. I did a video about that the other week.
Yeah, you should read it. I write things. They're not edited, so some are edited, but most of them are not edited.
They're fairly okay. Your grammar is still...
Sometimes
it's fine. It's fine.
Sometimes.
But I want you all to check out his blog, check out his Patreon. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'll put a link in the description below to Trash Night Ringo. Check out the Night Saw, doing online classes. I'm learning ever living crap ton while I'm up here. Check out, I've got a link tree in the description below. I want you all to be easy, but I also want you to get vicious or get the fuck out.